Okay, first, what were some of your initial thoughts when you found out that you were going to be held in such high regard by your state?
I was shocked. I was surprised. I actually found out, I think, in late September. The guy that I knew from one year, we covered the Olympics together, sent me a voicemail, and I was actually out of town for a couple of days. I didn't respond to him, and then he called me again. I said he really needed me to call him, and I called him, and he told me. I was surprised. I really was surprised.
Now, before I even got into sports, I used to watch you. But let's go back way before that. How did you get started? And what were some of the things that you initially were covering when you started?
I actually got started in the business at the student paper in Indiana, and then I went to a small paper in Anderson, Indiana, which is about 40 miles northeast of Indianapolis, covered all kind of high school sports mainly. And then I went back to Bloomington and worked at the Bloomington paper for a year and a half, and I've been in Louisville since 1978, but I actually came here. I wanted to get here so badly that I was just a copy editor. I wasn't even writing stories when I first started. I was on the news desk at the Courier-Journal editing other people's stories.
Now tell us how much sports coverage has changed over those years.
Oh, incredible. Back then, I remember when I first used to go to road games, I'd have to carry a typewriter with me, and you'd have to pay somebody like $50. You'd type up your story on a typewriter and give him the piece of paper, and he'd transmit them on a thing they called it wasn't a fax machine, but it was the precursor to a fax machine back to the paper where you were. Now, man, everything's instantaneous. It's on Twitter. The videos are up on Twitter after the game. Everybody knows the score. Everybody knows what happened. So you have to be fast and try and be creative and do all different kind of things, whether it's podcasts, videos, stories, whatever.
Well, in that change, how have you embraced those changes? What has been your approach, I guess, to dealing with the way things have progressed?
I've tried to embrace them as best I can. I remember when first somebody told me about Twitter, and I thought that's ridiculous. I'm not going to do that. And then you realize the world's moving on, you better keep up and run fast, or you're going to get left behind because younger people communicate in different ways. And I don't even know all the different things. I don't do TikTok now or any of that stuff, but that's what you have to do. You have to change with the times. And it used to be in the old days, if you had a story, you could maybe hold it, make more calls, and it'd be in the paper the next morning. You had a scoop. There's no such thing holding anything anymore, because somebody else might have it. They're going to put it up on Twitter or put it on their website before you have a chance to get it up.
So you talked about the Olympics, but I understand that you covered Indiana, and now you're here at U of L. Talk a little bit about the difference. And of course, the time period has changed, but what's different about your approach in your coverage?
I've covered both now for over 40 years. I started covering the first U of L team I think I covered was the 81-82 team. So I've been doing it 40 years. It's pretty much the same. It's a different conferences, different fan bases. Indiana's more of a statewide, regional type brand. And Louisville is more concentrated really heavily in Jefferson County. But I've always been impressed because I've been here to watch just the way that the Louisville brand has grown since I've been here. When I first got here, the football team was playing in the old Cardinal Stadium baseball field in front of crowds of 20,000, and now they easily outdraw IU every week. They've had teams that have won conference championships, won big games over all kinds of big name programs, and Indiana hasn't done that. Basketball wise, this is a dry period right now for Louisville, but I got no doubt they'll be back. And since I've been here, I've been fortunate to get to know guys like Daryl Griffith, Jerry Eves, Lancaster Gordon, Kenny Payne, Purvis Ellison, Peyton Siva, all those dudes, and they've been nothing but great to me, even Reese Gaines.
Now, I know you got to run, but for people for youngsters who may be trying to get started in this business, what kind of advice can you give them?
Make sure it's what you really want to do. Be committed to it. I remember when I was young, in sports, you work a lot of weekends. You got to you have to decide, that's where the action is in sports. You got to work on weekends. Some people don't want to do that. They want to go out and have fun with their friends, but you got to work on weekends. You got to be flexible, and you got to learn about as many different things as you can. You got to know about more than just sports, because a lot of times when you're talking to somebody and you want to develop a story, they might have an interest that's not sports, and you can help draw them out and get them to talk about something that's just not sports related. I would also tell them, just to be passionate about it. The people who really keep grinding away at it usually are successful. The people that aren't really passionate about it, decide they want to go, sell insurance or be a teacher or, do something else. So it's a business that I really am sincere when I say this. I've never really feel like I'm going to work. Like when I was in college in the summer, 3 years, I worked in the steel mill up in East Chicago, Indiana. That was work. That's where my dad worked. And my mom never wanted me to be a steel worker because she saw how hard my dad worked and how dangerous it was. And so she pushed on me to go to college, and fortunately I listened to her and, get a good education too. If you really want to get in the media, go to a school that has a good media program. Locally, Western's got a great one, UK's got a good one, Louisville's got a solid one, Indiana's got a good one. If you want to go more nationally, Missouri, Syracuse, those are the schools. Kansas, they've got really good schools. So, be passionate about it and follow your passion.
Let me ask you one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're on a lot of different platforms, but I first saw you on TV.
Oh, really?
Which one do you enjoy being or producing for more?
I probably would still say writing because it's what I've done the longest. But I do enjoy TV because you can communicate and show more of your personality better. I think that back when I was just writing a column, like sometimes if you wrote a critical column, everybody has a negative opinion, if you criticize their team or whatever, but if they see you on TV, they see more of, who you really are, and they don't judge you quite so harshly. That's what I think. So I've been at WDRB now the last 10 and a half years, and it's been the best 10 years in my career. They've been great to me, and I've grown so much and learned so many different things there.